Let me tell you what I would do if I own the Yankees right now. Forget about Cashman. I'm not wasting time on Cashman anymore. I'm going right to hell. Because I've wasted too much energy on telling the whole world how bad Brian Cashman is at his job. And he stinks. He stinks. So if I own the Yankees, what I would do, I would look in the mirror and I would do something that I haven't done enough in my life as the owner of the Yankees. I would be honest with where I'm at. The Yankees are not going to the World Series this year. The Yankees are not winning the World Series this year, not without basically 60% of the rotation in shambles and a defense that catches the ball like a JV team. So we all know, well, I shouldn't say we all. Most of us should realize that this is not it, okay? And once you come to that determination, what you should do, rather than trying to Band-Aid it and piece it together, which they probably will do, is they should sell. They should sell if you want Goldschmidt, if you want Devin Williams. I really like Bellinger, but if you want him, these guys will not be around contractually by the time the Yankees, if they even get it right, okay? So why are we going to, keep up the charade and the dog and pony show and the Yankees trying to get a World Series? The Yankees are not good enough. And the quicker that the Yankees can realize that, we could save a lot of energy and a lot of wasted money and a lot of wasted emotion and realize that you got to take a wrecking ball here. And it sucks. It sucks for Aaron Judge that Aaron Judge has to go through this, okay? The Yankees have burned more prime years of the greatest player that I've ever seen, probably more than any team in this city. Even the Ewing years where we were begging for a second star next to Patrick Ewing. The way the Yankees have flushed money down the chute, a payroll of basically $300 million, and we're still sitting here in mid-ish July. Well, if they go out and get this guy and they do this and they put Jazz in there. Nonsense. I don't want to hear it anymore. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't take calls on it. We won't have a discussion. I'm not saying that my way is the absolute right way, but it's my way because it's going nowhere, and I'm done. I don't mean being a Yankee fan. I'm done investing emotion and belief and conviction in this team. They are not good enough. Period.
I'm going to have to pick you back up off the mat today. I didn't realize coming into work that I was going to have to do this, but I don't want to see my partner down, walking around work like a loser. Come on, BT. It's the New York Yankees. They're just 3 games out. What was the nail in the coffin? Was it losing 2 out of 3 to the depleted Mets? Was it the sweep? The combination? Where'd you go from being... I still think the Yankees are going to win the division. I don't. Now, the Clark Schmidt injury, that's a killer because I could make a case for almost everything else. Hey, the bats are getting hot. Now, the thing that drives me nuts about the Yankees is they have, you look at the lineup yesterday, right? My initial reaction was, what the hell?
Where's Jazz and where's Jason Dominguez?
Okay,
that was my first reaction.
Right. That's my initial reaction. Then after I thought about it for more than a second, I said, okay, I know what he's doing. Fried's on the mound.
Best defensive lineman.
That's exactly right. Yep. Dominguez has been a butcher in left field.
Yes.
And then look what happened. The best defensive lineup paid dividends. That's how the Yankees won the game.
Yeah.
Now, the issue is they have a defensive lineup. They have an offensive lineup. You'd ideally like to combine the two. But forget that because I think the Yankees could survive with that being the case. The starting pitching is where I have an issue. Don't you think that the Yanks could go out there and get a starter? They could get another bat, move Jazz to second. Now they become better defensively. Offensively, they're fine. Get another starter, get a bullpen arm. Luke Weaver concerning, but I'm not willing to give up hope when even the worst case, I think they're better than Toronto.
I don't.
You don't think they're better than
No, I think Toronto's lineup's better. And because of the injuries now, I think Toronto's rotation's better. Toronto's better. They're better.
Yeah, I'm not ready to go there yet. I think it looks like that now. Dude, if that's the case, we got major problems. And
we do have major problems.
Well, I said this going into the weekend. The sweep was one thing, but going into the Mets series, I said if the Yankees lose 2 out of 3 here, I do think there are deeper issues. Now, that was before knowing Schmidt was going to have to likely undergo Tommy John.
Nah, he's cooked for at least a year.
But the fact that they couldn't beat a depleted Mets team...
Yep.
We'll get to the Mets' perspective, and they survived the storm. But the Mets had nobody pitching. Yanks were angry coming off getting swept, and they had a lineup that was getting hot.
Yeah.
Started out the first 2 guys hitting home runs.
I know.
And to lose 2 out of 3 to me was shocking. So, yeah, I do think there were deeper issues than maybe a lot of us thought. but I'm not ready to sell.
Yeah, no, I'm going to sell here. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to watch and I'm going to abandon. Listen, I'm in. I love the Yankees. There's so many fans of this team that love the Yankees, which is why I feel a responsibility to be real with these great fans. But the thing is, I don't really think what I'm saying, is like received like with horror. I don't think people are driving around saying, what? Tierney thinks the Yankees should sell. They've been watching the Yankees, and they just see Sal. See, even if they go on a run right now. And I mentioned a bunch of specific players: Goldschmidt, Devin Williams, Jazz, obviously Grisham.
Oh, Mets could use a center fielder. I'll take Grisham off your hands.
I mean, listen,
pick the carcass of the Yankees.
Pick the carcass. I mean, my thing is always like even if it's like Jets, Patriots, Giants, Eagles, whatever. Like you don't want to do business with the enemy, but if it's going to actually make you better down the road, I would not allow that to preclude me from making a deal. So if the Mets actually wanted to pick at the carcass right now, I would really actually do it. But I just think that. The Clark Schmidt injury to me was one of the final blows. I'm like, I don't know how much more you can absorb here, and it's just the same regurgitation of the same maddening issues for the New York Yankees. It is criminal. It is absolutely criminal that this is the team that you constructed around the Aaron Judge. It is laughable. It is embarrassing. It is infuriating. All rolled up into one very perplexing and complex set of emotions for the Yankee fan. Because deep down, the Yankee fan. I don't mean the arrogant, younger Yankee fan who never went through the lean years like I did. I'm not talking about that person. I'm talking about the person who really truly knows the ups and downs and the peaks and valleys of being a Yankee fan, but also has great appreciation for the history. Like they should not be in this position. This is not the late 80s where George is banned and you got Stump Merrill waddling out of the dugout to throw, to pull some pitcher who's got a 9.1 start at your ERA. The Yankees to me, it keeps coming down to one fundamental issue. They are built wrong, and there is no way around it. Yeah, they can come back and make the Cubs. What was it, the guy Seattle and the Cubbies win a couple? By the way, they probably won't.
It's a brutal.
It's awful. They're gonna hemorrhage into the All-Star break. That's my call. Yeah, but again, it's baseball. Could they maybe win 2 out of 3? They could, but it doesn't mask the deficiency enough for me. There are too many grave, and I mean grave issues with the Yankees. Matter of fact, if you said, hey, take us on a little journey, all the good things with the Yankees and all the bad things, well, all the good things were done in 2 seconds. All the bad things I could do an entire show on.
Yeah.
So that's where they're at. I would sell.
I don't think it's that bad. I understand the frustration. I understand it has been that bad, and I don't agree that they're built the right way. For me, this has been on Cashman. It's been on the organization not holding themselves accountable, not acknowledging the reality, which too many times gets overlooked because of their results. I talked about this. I think we talked about it before you left, and then even when you were off the last couple of days, into the holiday, that the Yankees get away with it because they win 90 games every year, and last year in the World Series. So how could I sit here and say, which I did all year long with you, they're not that good. I don't believe they're that good. I don't believe they're that good. They beat the Royals. They beat the Guardians. Here they are in the World Series.
Yep.
And then, okay, well, they got beat by the Dodgers. Yeah, they didn't play well, but ball bounces this way. Judge catches a ball. Who the hell knows? Cortez doesn't come in a game like Booney, whatever. Like, you can make a case that it should have been more competitive. So I still didn't believe the Yankees were that good. I thought they got worse this year, and they get away with it because the result, they're still going to win. I still think they're going to win the division.
I mean, you keep saying that,
90 games. And again, they were in the World Series a year ago, so they don't have to acknowledge the reality that we see. They think they're smarter than all of us because the results and maybe some analytics say that they are. But if you watch baseball, you just know better. Like, it's just not the right group. But even with that being said, BT, who's definitively better? I don't believe it's Toronto. I don't think anybody in their division is better than they are.
See, I measured against who's in front of them. You have to, because that on some level that determines how you should act there. Of course, you've got to incorporate the competition, but I to me that's secondary. To me, the real evaluation is, all right, let me just look at this team objectively speaking. And listen, you go around the diamond and there's basically a question mark literally everywhere. I mean, except for Aaron Judge. even the guys that you like and you kind of have a little faith and a little bit of trust, like somebody like Goldschmidt, who's a good pro, couple years are going to be 40. You know, he's not here. You know, even Bellinger, who's a good all-around baseball player, he's got an opt-out. You know, is it going to be a long-term piece of the puzzle for the Yankees? So even the things that you would like to enjoy and the things that you semi-trust, there's no real reason to remain married to that. So I'm not waiting for my phone to ring. I am now, and again, Cashman won't do this. This is all
right,
what
you know
I
what
would
do. Right.
I would be calling every team right now. You want Goldschmidt? Again, I don't think you're getting a ton back, but this at least would open up an avenue for, you know what, Rice? You're playing the next 90 games at first base. Let's see what Ben Rice can do at first base. All right, you know what? Grisham, he's got a little power, can pick it in the outfield. He can run a little bit. His contract is up. Go to a contender. Go to the Mets. Go to somebody else. Play center field. Dominguez, let me see 90 games. Let's see what you could do. Can you play center field for the Yankees instead of the constant experiments with, well, and you nailed this. I heard you say this at one point. I forget what day it was. Maybe Friday. I don't really remember. But you're right. The Yankees, how they try to change what somebody was and make them something that we're not sure that they could be as you're trying to win a World Series is so utterly irresponsible. It is just maddening. So the Yankees, to me, are broke. In terms of like hopes, and they're going nowhere this year. So everybody else can keep up the charade. I'm not. I'll never jump ship. I love the Yankees, but I also love them enough and I'm smart enough to know that this version ain't even close. To being it.
BT and Sal on the Fan, our friends at Town Fair Tire. Remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Mike is in Tom's River starting us off. What's up, Mike?
How you doing, guys? I mean, BT, I love you. And Sal, I love you too. But BT, you're not going crazy enough, if you can believe that. I am a Yankee fan. I go to 20 games a year minimum. The hell with this. Freaking Cashman, freaking Boone, freaking Hal Steinbrenner. You have a team that can't field. They can't field. You have Volpe throwing a ball at Judge's face. I mean, come on, this is embarrassing. You know they're going to get into the playoffs and they won't hit. Everybody knows that. Yeah. Even if they had pitching, you know they're not going to field and hit in the playoffs. It's a disaster. Why can't the Yankee fans band together, fly freaking planes over like the Giant fans, and get rid of Cashman? We will never go anywhere with Cashman. We will never go anywhere, I think, with Hal Steinbrenner. And Boone is just Cashman. He just listens to whatever he says. They don't keep a same lineup. They don't do anything correctly right now.
That drives me nuts.
I feel like I'm the Mets.
It drives me nuts.
I feel like I'm the Mets. Help me, BT. Help me.
Well, help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi, your only hope. I can't help you. I can't help you. I mean, we could do a therapy session. I can't do anything to change the Yankees. I can't get the Yankees to change their ways. I can't. I can't get Brian Cashman to change who he is at this point as a baseball man. And again, you know, he's had a great career. And we're not going to cue up the band and go through the same stupid song and dance, which I'm exhausted, even though I've been off for 3 or 4 days, exhausted having the same Brian Cashman conversation over and over. When does that conversation end, dude? I mean, when does the charade end? When does the music stop? And the Yankees realize, we got to try something else.
For me, it would have been the 2021 season. Remember, they sold in 2016. 2017, baby Bombers get to Game 7 of the ALCS. Fire Girardi, bring in Boone, bring in Stanton, and then it was supposed to be the ascension from there. And not until last year did they go further than the Game 7 of the ALCS in 2017. But in 2020, that was a pandemic year. Luke Voigt went nuts. And again in the postseason, like thinking they can't even win in the shortened the shortened series. They looked the same. They dominated the regular season offensively. They fell in the postseason. 2021 was the year in the regular season they started to struggle. Mm-hmm. That was the year I would have made a change when they went and got finally some lefties with Gallo and Rizzo. Yeah. Barely made the playoffs, ousted in the postseason. And then remember, if you had the culmination, 2022, if memory serves, was the year they got out on fire. like the 98 Yankees, but we never believed that they were that good. 2023, they missed the postseason.
And 2022, the mismatch against the Astros.
In the
it was
ALCS.
and I went to one of those games. I remember saying that was the year the Mets played the Padres.
Yeah.
And ironically, both fan bases were dormant and dead because neither fan base really had a belief that those teams were worthy of making a World Series run. And that Astros-Yankees series was that was a stark reminder that the gap is massive.
Correct. Both teams ended up missing the playoffs in 2023.
Yeah.
Last year, Yankees trade for Soto. They get to the World Series. But if you actually look at it from 2021 on, it has not been a consistent from start to finish of a regular season dominant Yankee team. Not even last year. Where last year it started out great, fell apart. 2020, you could say the same thing. Started out great, then they cooled off and got embarrassed in the postseason. So I would have made that move 4 years ago. So I can't sit here and scream about it. But to play the counter, the reason why they think it's okay, meaning they, Hal, and Cashman, the results are what they are. They still make the postseason more than they don't.
Yep.
They still win roughly 90 games, and they were in the World Series a year ago.
Yeah, but I'm old enough to remember what the real Yankee standard is and what the real Yankee standard is supposed to be. And this is not it.
Dude, I'm with you. I mean, I've been saying the same thing. But even with that being said, I still don't think it's as bad. Like, this is as bad as it's gotten in a long time.
Let me ask you this. Honestly, what are the Yankees good at? What does this team do well? Their bullpen's the worst. Since June 28th, the Yankees' bullpen, the ERA in 31 innings is almost 10.
Here's the best parts of
So
their
it's not
team.
that.
Yeah, well, remember we talked about...
They don't feel well.
Yeah, look.
What is it?
They have the ace. Okay, that's a big piece to get, so they have the ace in place.
Yep.
And I do think that... Now, the problem is... The lineup is inconsistent, and certain lineups are better offensively than the others. And then when you go with the defense, you're not going to hit as much. But I still think they could be an above average. Forget even the numbers. I'm just talking about a scary offensive team. I like the idea of Dominguez, Judge, Bellinger, Stanton. Like, that could be a scary lineup. I don't know why they wouldn't stick to it. Other than Dominguez is a butcher in left field, but then they need to figure out something else because these are the guys that they have.
Then DH him.
Yeah, well, bingo. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I don't understand this. I mean, now we had the discussion with Volpe when he went 3 for 5 and then he had a natural rest day the next day. I don't understand the concept of a young player. And let's not get this twisted. I know he's been a butcher last couple of days in left field. He was pretty quiet for a while with Dominguez, which was nice. But forget about the defense. Dominguez's bat is on fire, and he is an elite uber athlete. You sit him down. I saw that lineup. I was at my son's tournament early in the first. I'm like, let me see the Yankee lineup today. It's early in the morning on Sunday. I'm like, no Jazz, no Dominguez. Now, I can't go nuts about that because they did win the game. And I understand why they did it with Fried. You want to have your best defensive alignment. I get it. But that also speaks to the greater issue with the Yankees.
Bingo.
I mean, hey, if they can maybe petition MLB for a new rule where they can sub in and out like the NBA or do different lines like they do in the NHL, and they could, over the course of a game, they could roll out substitutions in between pitches based on defensive alignments, well, then maybe the Yankees could win. But right now, they are just a mess.
BT and Sal on the Fan Warrior calls when we come back.
Yeah, all right. Dude, listen, your team's doing well, man. I just look at you. I wish you guys saw the look he just gave me.
I was going to just deliver one line before we break. We'll get to the Mets at 11. On to Plan B. Blow it up. BT and Sal on the Fan, 888-808-1019.